What's up? What's going on? What's good? And we are live here at the Boxing Source, and this is the midweek report. And we got a few things that we're going to be talking about here as we're supposed to have a special guest coming in at about 8 p.m. Eastern time here, so within the next 10 minutes. So we'll be talking about a few things that are going on in the St. Pete area, as there is some boxing action that is taking place there, as it's part of a fairly busy weekend in the sport of boxing. I do want to kind of like go over a few things within, um, for the weekend. We had like a few things that did take place earlier today. We had like a conference call take place with the fighters that are involved in the Devin Haney Yuriorkis Gamboa fight card. And you also had Eddie Hearn there that was joining in, was there at the beginning of that conference call. So we did hear from Eddie Hearn. We heard from Devin Haney. We did, also hear from Philip Hergovich, Rashad Mati, Raymond Ford, and Rydell Booker in that conference call. The Yuriorkis Gamboa didn't was not able to be part of it today due to being tested for COVID. Should see if he'll be available tomorrow for a conference call there. So you do have that, but one of the other things that's going on is that we, have a fight card during the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend, and that is going to you'll have a good amount of fights, including included, excuse me, in that fight card that will be on Impact Network. So you'll be able to watch the fight card live on the Impact Network. So we will be keeping our eye on that. There should be, I think there is like another card that I'm looking for that is going to happen on November 7th that does involve the guests that we've had on the podcast there. So, and that will be, I think that is in South Carolina. Um, and with that is going to be Tika Hemingway should be involved in a fight card for, I think it's in South Carolina. So we do have that as far as like that action going on. Um, I think there's also something where there'll be fights in Philadelphia too. That involve a few people. So that we'll also be looking out for as well. But in the next few minutes or so, wanted to just talk about the things that happened there in that conference call. Like I said, you did have Devin Haney in there, and I did ask a question to Devin Haney in reference to the comments made by Ryan Garcia. You could catch what Ryan Garcia has said in the interview in one of the videos that's on this channel, and also you could catch what Devin Haney said as a response to Ryan Garcia's comments, as I just uploaded that portion of the conference call on this channel. Just uploaded it about a few minutes ago, so you can check that out. Um, and you also have follow-up comments by Eddie Hearn in reference to what Ryan Garcia was saying, because you have Ryan Garcia saying that he is bored um, at the idea of having a fight with Devin Haney next if he fights and beats Luke Campbell. That's supposed to be scheduled for December 5th. And the thing about that is that the fight between Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell is for the number one spot for the WBC lightweight title, which Devin Haney holds. So why would Ryan Garcia not be interested in a fight with Devin Haney when Devin Haney is the WBC lightweight champion, and Ryan Garcia would be the number one contender and pretty much the mandatory contender? He would be the WBC, what is that, diamond or whatever belt the WBC may have there for that particular fight between Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell. Uh, that is, what is on the line there for that particular bout. That's going to be on December 5th. But you do have like I said, you do have that bout December 5th. Devin Haney fighting Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, main event November 7th. So that is going to be in Florida. So you do have a fairly busy weekend this weekend. So I'm just, looking forward to all of that. The, other fight card that I was mentioning is at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. That will have Nafir Charles, former guest on the podcast. Nafir Charles will be on there. Dylan Price, Brandon Mullins is also featured on there. And you'll also have Mark Dawson as part of that card. So that is one thing to, kind of watch out for here in this particular weekend. So lots of action. Like I said, you have action that will happen on Saturday night. When many cities around the U.S. and you'll have that action. Like I said, that's going to be on the Impact Network. That is in St. Petersburg. You also have over in the Microsoft Theater that will be on Fox. Frank Sanchez versus Brian Howard, and Luis King Kong Ortiz versus Alexander Flores. You also have Carlos Negron against Rafael Rios and Joey Bell against Michael Coffey. So, and looks like over in Bonita Springs, you're going to have K9 in action. K9 Cornelius Budridge in action against Antoine Ellison, too. So, like I said, fights over in Florida. Two fight cards in Florida, one in Hollywood, one in Bonita Springs. You got some in Philadelphia and then also in Los Angeles. And seeing here, there was supposed to be something in South Carolina, but I have to see about confirming that. Yes, there is something there in Rock Hill, South Carolina, like I said. So it has Tika Hemingway there in her debut against Miranda Barber. You also had like Alberto Ignacio Palmetta against Saul Corral. So few fights that are happening there in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Yeah, there's like a good set of fight cards that are happening. Like I said, when you have like that action, like I said, in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Philadelphia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, St. Petersburg, um, Florida, Los Angeles. Um, like I said, boxing is slowly, getting itself back in there. So that's what's going on right there. Um, so that's what we have there on the schedule, so to speak. So that's basically what's going on here. Just waiting on our guest to join us here in a bit, so we could talk about what is happening there in St. Petersburg. So um, I think it'll be within the next few minutes or so that he'll be coming in. So just waiting for him to come in on that. You also did have, as far as like news that came through the Athletic, uh, that Tyson Fury and Ajit Kabiel have come to terms to have their match to take place on December 5th, right? Um, that's pretty interesting there. Of course, you had the talks that were happening as far as like what Tyson Fury would do. He said that he was going to have a fight December 5th, and apparently that was not going to be the rematch against Deontay Wilder. And he said that the the deadline for the rematch had, expired, that it was supposed to happen by a certain time. And if not, then it basically, becomes null and void. Um, and so that's that's what happened. So if with it being expired, then they Tyson Fury and his team moved on. And we didn't really hear from Deontay Wilder uh for at least a couple of weeks, you know. And then this past weekend, Saturday, Saturday or whatever it is, we get a video from Deontay Wilder, and we did kind of go over that in the podcast on a Sunday, so you can catch that podcast. It is available on iTunes, so you'll be able to check that out. And it had like a good amount of responses to it, and it's still being talked about. So now you have this news of Tyson Fury facing Isaac Cabiel. Cabiel is there available as he had been signed by Top Rank. So he's there with that record of 20-0. So he's 20-0, 13 knockouts. Did have a fight in Germany back in July. Was for a regional title. So he was able to get a unanimous decision win in that fight. So now they say that they'll put him in position there to fight Tyson Fury. And it seems like it's going to happen, and it'll be in the UK. So that is what has been put in place there. So just wanted to get that news in there, as they said that Tyson Fury has now basically agreed to have a fight against Ajit Cabiel, right? So that is one bit of news that we're going to be following, as that is something of concern, therefore the heavyweight division. Of course, you have the news of Alexander Povetkin testing positive for COVID-19. there for the fight between him and Dylan White that was scheduled for November 21st has been scrapped or is basically being rescheduled. There was suggestions that Dylan White could have a replacement opponent for that fight date, but that was on the cards according to Eddie Hearn, and he says that the fight will be rescheduled for January because I mean, one, it still would be for the WBC, that championship that Alexander Povetkin has. There's the interim WBC title and also the WBC Diamond title. So that's something that we will be looking for to see like what is the update for that if that is going to be confirmed for January. And my thing is that what with Alexander Povetkin scoring that win over Dylan White for that interim title. Remember, Dylan White had been the mandatory contender for the WBC Heavyweight Championship held by Tyson Fury, but with him losing to Alexander Povetkin, that muddies the waters as far as like the mandatory contender status. So, with this rematch being put in place, that kind of like says, okay, whoever wins this would, I guess, still be the mandatory contender. But after that, what would that mean as far as like the status with the WBC champion? Like I said, you do have Tyson Fury that has now agreed to terms to fight Isaac Caballero on December 5th, and he will defend that title. But you also still have that thing about Deontay Wilder, and if there's a rematch that is going to, actually happen between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Also, you do have that pending fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. They said that they basically verbally agreed so to have that fight. But right now, just about to have our guest on. He is a retired professional boxer, and now he is a boxing promoter. He's a real estate entrepreneur and a cranial hair prosthesis specialist and founder and creator of the Experience Bassam brand and Tampa's very first men's grooming spa, and that is here right now with us. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, brother, man? Thank you for having me, man. It's such a blessing to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. We tried to, get you on the podcast on Sunday, but we had some, a couple issues there, so wanted to just bring you on here for this, and
Yes.
glad to have you on. Now, you're, working on this fight card that's supposed to be happening this weekend. That's on Friday in St. Petersburg. So talk about that a little bit here, real quick.
Yeah, so, this is the Florida State Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. And we decided to put on a professional boxing show and event. This Friday, doors open up at 5 p.m. First bill rings at 6. It's going to be at the St. Pete Clearwater Marriott. This is actually the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame night. So a lot of your Florida Hall of Fame inductees is going to be in the building. We got Jeff Lacey supposed to be in the building, Ricky Wright, Antonio Tarver, Nate Campbell, Keith Thurman. These are all Florida, your top Florida fighters that's going to be there in the building. So we're not really confirmed yet for sure as to who's going to be in the building, But being that this is Florida State Hall of Fame boxing, it's gonna be a lot of key players in the building that night on Friday.
True, true, true. Now, I mean, the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame induction is going on during that weekend, November 6th through November 8th. And like you were mentioning, Jeff Lacey is part of that class. Also, Buster Mathis Jr. is part of that class. And Jeff Sims is part of that class. So you're going to be seeing some of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame inductees, that may be in that building as well. But
And
like
shouts
you said,
out to
it's
and shouts out to Sherman Henson, Coach Sherman Henson, from DC. Um, but he's resided and relocated here to Tampa, Florida. But shouts out to Coach Sherman Henson, who will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Florida Hall of Fame this weekend.
yeah, Coach Sharma there is kind of like there he's had like the same path that Winky Wright, because Winky Wright, was also from the DC area that did come to the Tampa Bay area, and had his career, pretty much continued his career and was able to become a unified champion there before he retired. But going back to the fight card that's happening at the St. Petersburg Marriott, you do have the um, fighters there like Kylie Reyes against Candy Wyatt. Will be part of that card for the WBA super lightweight title. You also have Clarence Booth in action against Rondell Hubbard, Isaiah Steen against Wanda Angel, among many other fights that are part of the card. But it's also going to be on television. Is that correct?
Yes, it's gonna be pay per view. It should be pay per view.
Gotcha,
Not not
gotcha.
not a live network. What I forgot to mention that was very important is that this event um it's being done. This event we're doing, TK Boxing Promotions, Experience Bassam. We're doing this event with DeBella Entertainment.
Yes, yes, yes. It's T&K Boxing Promotions there with Bassam Promotions there in the Bella Entertainment. So it's a joint promotion there. So you're gonna have a lot of action in that card. I think there's it's about 12, I think about 12 fights that will be part of that card. So it's a very stacked card. There lots of action so that people be able to join in. I think tickets may be still available, but like I said, you
Tickets are available still. We don't have that many left, but tickets are available still. You guys can phone me at 813 397 8066 for tickets. Um, Clarence Booth is going to be the main event. He's hometown hero out of St. Pete. So Clarence, the Truth Booth will be the main event. Our local guy. That's definitely that fight's going to be fireworks. Um, I'm not sure on the opponent on if they set the opponent a concrete opponent for him for that night or not. But I know whoever they put him in there is going to be a competitor. I know they're coming. They're definitely coming to fight. They're definitely coming to bring it. And it's gonna be a good night of boxing for Tampa Bay.
without question there. So kind of like going into you here a little bit, like you said, you're former professional fighter and now promoter. So wanted to go to into your background a little bit, like when you started as far as like your boxing career and then transition over to promoting.
Well, yeah. So the love of boxing has always been in my blood. It's been in my family. Um, so yeah, I started out as a fighter, um, and then I went from being a fighter to also dabbing in real estate. Okay, and started. I learned how to start. I taught myself actually how to buy and sell and flip homes with other people's money. So at that particular time, I did not have enough money of my own to get started, nor did I have any credit of my own to get started. But what I did know how to do, what I was skillful enough to do, was to be able to locate the money, find the money, and connect myself with people who do have the money. So I acted as an in-between middle guy. Okay. And I pretty much brought the marriage together and created my own spread, man. And out of, I'd say, my first 120 days of being in that industry, um, I cut my first check, which was $36,000. Ever since then,
Mm.
I never looked back. I never turned back. So I began to flip more and more and more properties without me even touching them. A lot of them never even seen before or went to. Okay, just flipping a piece of paper. So then I grew the love more for being a businessman, being a business. And I said, hey, being a fighter, getting my hands dirty, doing the grunt work and the dirty work, it's played out for me now. Now I've tapped into something that allows me to use this, what I have on top of my brain. And being that I'm blessed to still have all my faculties working, let me go ahead and use it to create massive income for me and for others. So I fell out of love with being a fighter, getting up training, and just going through all the motions of being a fighter. Like, you don't make money unless you in the ring fighting. You know what I mean? And you go through all these training camps, and really, it's not really unless you're getting paid millions and you got title fights going on. It's really not works. It's definitely a poor man's sport, indeed. So I fell out of love with it and fell more in love with being a businessman, being an entrepreneur. Um, Real estate is my first love now. And I did say that I was going to come back to the sport of boxing, but as a boxing promoter. There are a lot of things locally that I see in this promotional game that I feel is being done all wrong. All right, there's a lot that I could bring to the table for the local boxing scenes. A lot of creative things that I have planned for the local boxing scene. I do plan on doing my first solo um, event next year. I plan on doing it next year. Hopefully, what the goal is to do it during the Super Bowl week. Um, so
Mm.
that's kind of up in the air now. That's very aggressive and that's an ambitious goal. But hey, I wouldn't be myself if I didn't have goals like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now we have experience for some men's grooming items. The very first place in Tampa, the very first place in this entire state of Florida, where men can come and get haircuts, signature cuts, manicures, pedicures, facials, and massages. Get you a drink, Jack Daniels, or some Jameson, or some Tito on me, or some wine, or if you want a soda pop, you want some Mountain Dew, you want some Dr. Pepper, you want a Pepsi Cola, or you want an
Mm.
energy drink or some water. Also we have the food truck out here where you can come in and you can order food as well. You can order food, get the services, your favorite services that you like, and just lounge around and just get a whole new grooming experience.
Oh, so I could, stop by there and probably get like a Johnny Walker before I, get my whole. haircut and everything like that, or
Yes,
pedicure,
Johnny Walker.
manicure, you
Yes,
still would have
Johnny
done it.
Walker. Johnny Walker Black is favorite here at Experience
Yeah,
Bassam
buddy.
Men's Moment Lounge. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. That's what's up. That's what's up. So I mean, you got all of that going there with the experience performing lounge. When did you establish that there over in that location?
You said when?
Yes.
Okay, so we've been open about a month and a half now. We opened up the end of August, the last weekend of August. We opened up right here at 8020 North 56th Street, right in Temple Terrace, 7433617, and the 7-Eleven Plaza. Come on, see us, man.
Gotcha.
www.experiencebassam.com.
Gotcha. Let's see if I could add someone here to join the conversation that is within the Tampa St. Petersburg area. Brother Joe, are you with us?
Who?
Jarrell, checking in.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. What's up, man? What's going on?
What's up,
Yeah,
brother?
So
yeah.
what show are you talking about? Because like I know there's a card coming up on November 21st that our boy Linroy's in. Is that the one you talking about?
No,
No,
we have the thing that's
six.
going on during that Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. So that's like right there in Tampa, St. Pete. So on that Friday, they have a fight card that's taking place there at the Marriott in Clearwater, St. Pete. You will have Clarence Booth there in the main event against Rondell Hubbard, and you also have Kylie Reyes, that was a former world title challenger against um, there for that welterweight title. And now she'll be taking on Candy White for the vacant WBA super lightweight title. But you had Kylie Reyes a couple of years ago that faced Cecilia Braekhus for the undisputed welterweight championships. Did knock down Cecilia Braekhus in that fight, but ended up losing by unanimous decision. So, pretty packed card there in St. Petersburg for Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah, do me favors. When you get a chance, send me that flyer because I'm gonna definitely make my best to get to it. Definitely.
Yeah, we'll send all that information there for you. Bassam there has that information. He's giving that to me, and so I'll be able to forward that to you.
Cool.
That. Bassam, going back to this fight card, is there like any other local fighters that will be part of this card that you know?
I haven't been involved. I really don't deal with the fighters and who all is going to be on the card, what's going on, who's dropping out, who they're looking for, and things like that. To be honest with you, I'm more of the behind the scenes guy, on the back end business of things.
Gotcha. Now you did mention that you were trying to pull off, a boxing event during Super Bowl weekend. What do you think about, the local, like you were talking about the local scene there in the Tampa St. Pete area? Of course, there's like a lot of gyms, boxing gyms out there in Tampa St. Pete, and if you go outside of St. Pete, you could, travel over to Polk County or something like that, and you'll get a few good gyms that are out there, and I know that there are good fighters and good trainers that train outside of the Tampa St. Pete area. So, what do you think about that overall local scene there, as far as like the sport of boxing?
Man, to be honest with you, there's a lot of talent in the Bay Area. There's a lot of talent in the Bay Area. The problem is that the promoters in this area, they have a mindset that does not fit for business, which is why they only go so far. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a promoter and this is your business and this is your company and this is what you do, then promote. It ain't the fighters. It should be left on the fighters to promote your brand and to get people in the door of your show. Like, you should be strong enough, you should be influential enough to know how to put a team together and get those asses put in those seats. Now, it's a lot I have to say about that. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to drop jewels and give things away. You know what I mean?
You don't want to go too far into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so there are a lot of things. It's not done right. It's not done right. They only do things out of they they only do things to hustle and make money right now.
Yeah.
And the money that they hustling to make right now is nothing. It really is nothing. There's nothing to brag about. It's nothing to even talk about. They don't know how to build income, other streams of income around just that one particular show. That's something that I don't know how to do. There's 10 different ways. Um, it, they don't control the alcohol in the concessions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's something that I'm bringing to the table. Where I will be able to control alcohol in concessions. One being that I'm in control of a liquor license right now as we speak. Um, so it's a lot of things that I'm able to bring to the table that the Tampa Bucks scene needs, and I'm gonna put it all in a nutshell. And that's that mindset, that business mindset that I have, and it's untapped, especially the black community. The black community as well. They don't really know much about professional boxing here in Tampa, on how big boxing is here in the Tampa, Orlando, St. Pete, Clearwater, Lakeland, Winter Haven area.
Right.
Well, hey, question for you. Well, not really a question, but even just to pick up on the history of boxing in Tampa. I mean, just look at this area. Look at your current day fighters. Even someone like Edna Cherry, who's been in the game for a long time, he's still active in there. He was on PBC earlier this year. I think
No,
fighting
he's
one
actually
fourth.
in. He's actually inactive. He's not fighting anymore. He's retired.
Well,
He's been.
he had a recent fight here recently within the last 6 months. We know that he was on PBC.
When was
Even
that?
but it was within the last 6 months. It was on FS1. I could put if I had a chance, I'll put up the record.
Oh,
But
that was an old fight. If
okay,
you seen it
well,
on FS1, that was an old fight because
yeah,
he's medically he's not able to fight anymore because he had like a heart attack or a stroke or something about a year or two ago,
okay,
and it put him in a bad situation to where he no longer can is taking any more fights.
yeah. So what I'm getting, we had names like Edna Cherry. I mean, Winky Wright. We know that Jeff Lacey, Tarver, even like your present day fighter in Orlando, Erickson Lubin. Even Tara's coach. What's the guy's name? His last name Williams. He's a legendary coach here within the area. Everything, all the
Yeah,
boxing.
he passed away.
Yeah,
Coach
yeah,
Williams, yeah, he passed away.
yeah. So this
Rest in
this
peace.
area definitely does have a lot of talent. It has history with it. On top of that, there's definitely a lot of young, hungry fighters, like you said, that just need an opportunity. But we all know when it comes to the boxing business, it gets a very murky and shady at times. We know that. But yeah, you're right. This area definitely has some fighters. Definitely.
Yeah, and like I said, it boils down, brother, to business, having that business mindset, and it's something about Tampa, man. It's hard to find or run into people that are from here and that are here and knows how to do business. A lot of times, like a lot of things that I do, man, I'm doing business, dealing with people outside of outside of here, outside of the area. with different things that I'm doing. But unless you have that mindset, like it's really not gonna work. You're just gonna be that guy that's gonna hustle up and only make money off of bringing in tickets on your shows, and that's it. But I have the plan. But some has the plan to bring in multiple streams of income just off of that one show. And I know how to make money off of that one show after that show was already done and completed.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about the whole thing about, having a liquor license and how, not just in, promotional game in the sport of boxing, but all across the board that in events, when promoters do events, they usually just, go and purchase or book the venue for a date, but they don't control anything within the venue, while the event is happening. So it's just, all you're doing is just getting the money off the tickets, and that's it. But you can control everything else that's within the building. You basically get more money out of that. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't really get that opportunity in many of these instances. So that's like a good, very good move there as far as like going into, not just booking a venue, but controlling everything within that venue so you maximize your revenue.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
So
Because what are we doing this for? If we're not feeding families, if I'm not feeding my family and if I'm not feeding other families that's around me that's involved, then what am I doing this
right, exactly. So like I said, we got Bassam here. He is, part of promoting the event that's happening on this Friday, part of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. You do have a fight card there at the St. Petersburg Marriott. And like I said, there's going to be a bunch of fights that will be part of that fight card. Headlined by Clarence Booth against Rondell Hubbard. You also have, like I said, Kylie Reyes against Candy Wyatt for the vacant WBA female super lightweight title. So it'll be lots of action, and it will be on, I think it's like pay-per-view television there. So you'll definitely be on the lookout for that. There are tickets available. You could contact Bassam for those tickets. And once again, could you provide your information so that, all those that are interested will be able to contact you for those tickets?
I'm sorry?
Would you be able to provide your info once again so that people could get to you for those tickets?
Yes, you can contact me 813-397-8066 for tickets. Hit me up directly, or you can inbox me on Facebook at Bassam Afai Dawson, and or you can find me on Instagram, inbox me on Instagram for tickets. On Instagram at Experience Bassam.
Gotcha, brother. Bassam Alfai Dawson. Again, like I said, he's a promoter, former pro boxer, now real estate investor, entrepreneur, and he is the founder of Experience Bassam. There, so like I said, y'all be sure to go out there and check out the fights over in St. Petersburg, and just get in contact with them for tickets. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Cool.
we'll be excited to see you guys come out, man. Not a boxing and come on out with us and have a good night and just watch the talent.
True that, man. Brother Bassam, thank you very much for joining us here on the Boxing Source. I'm glad to have you on here for you to be able to talk about this event. And I'm definitely going to be in contact with you in the near future so that, once you do have that event put together, we're speaking it into existence. You're going to have that event put together over there for Super Bowl weekend. You'll be able to come back and talk about it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. Hopefully, we'll have you there. I'm
Oh,
covering covering the show live.
Yeah. I gotta make that trip back down to Tampa, man, and you'll be able to cover an event like that, man. So definitely gonna be on the lookout for that, man. Thank you very much, brother.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too. All right, that was brother Bassam, Alpha E. Dawson. There, that was real estate investor. He's an entrepreneur, and like I said, he's the founder of Experience Bassam over there in the St. Petersburg area, and is part of promoting the fight card that is in the St. Petersburg area. Like I said, St. Petersburg Marriott will have Clarence Booth featured in the main event against Rondell Hubbard. And in the co-feature bout, you have Kylie Reyes going up against Candy Wyatt for the vacant WBA super lightweight title. I think it will be on Impact Network. So that is something to look out for there. Impact Network, does host a good number of boxing events on their channel. So you'll be able to check it out right there. So going into what I was saying here before we had our guests on here for the midweek report, you did have a press conference that did take place earlier today with Devin Haney included there for his upcoming bout against Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa was scheduled to be on, but he couldn't make it due to having the COVID-19 test that was conducted during that time, and so he had like a little bit of complications after that test, so he was unable to be part of that conference call. But Devin Haney did go over a few things, the fight against Yuriorkis Gamboa, and kind of like answering questions as far as those that are criticizing him for fighting Yuriorkis Gamboa there. So he kind of like brought up the instance of Gamboa's last fight, which was against Gervonta Tank Davis, where he was able to do a few things against Tank Davis, but he ended up getting stopped in the 12th round in that particular fight. And he also did talk about, let me see. He also did talk about what Ryan Garcia said earlier this week, that, even though Ryan Garcia is facing Luke Campbell on December 5th, that would be for the mandatory spot or the top position in the WBC rankings, that Ryan Garcia is bored at the idea of facing Devin Haney next, which is interesting because he and Devin Haney were face-to-face earlier this year after Ryan Garcia had that first round knockout of Francisco Fonseca. And I just find that to be fairly interesting. But Devin Haney did say that, if he's not interested in fighting me, that's fine. I mean, all Ryan Garcia has is Instagram followers. He doesn't have a belt. So he says, hey, I guess if I beat him, then I would just get a bunch of Instagram followers, and that's it. He says that he wants to chase belts and whatnot. So I found that to be a little bit interesting, especially given what was said by Teofimo Lopez over the past few days. So I kind of find that interesting that, Devin Haney feels like he would move on to fighting Ryan Garcia and would like to rather fight like a Teofimo Lopez or, maybe someone like, like a former champion, I guess. They did have a suggestion that he could fight Jorge Linares if he doesn't fight Ryan Garcia next, or if he doesn't fight the likes of a Gervonta Tank Davis. So I kind of find that being interesting coming out of Devin Haney there. So wanted to get y'all's thoughts about this upcoming bout between Devin Haney and Yuriorkis Gamboa. So if anyone has any brief thoughts about it, y'all can go ahead. Terrell, you got something there for it?
Of course, and number one thing, I wish I could have been one of the reporters at the press conference with Devin Haney, and you already know the one name I would have brought up, and I would said, "Give me your honest viewpoint in regards to why this fight was floated out there, but yet it did not happen. Give me the real story." I would have put him right there on the spot, and you already knew who I'm talking about, right?
Yep, I know. Yep,
Because
I certainly know.
even like you going back for it. I'm gonna put it on Twitter probably tomorrow. I just want to pose a question: What is the most exciting division in boxing right now? And for a while, we were stuck on welterweight. We know that 147. We all know about the top figureheads there: Spence Jr., Thurman, Pacquiao, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia,
Hmm.
the Golden Boy kid who's on the B level, things like that. We and all the supporting characters, Lipin Yates, all those people, right? And now it's so funny. It's like every week we were talking about 147, and now it's so funny. We go two divisions down, and now we talk about is 135, and rightfully so. Once again, we had a great fight with To and Loma Chicken. We know that how that went. We now have a unified champion. We now have a Tank has another fight on his belt in a fight that he was largely expected to win. We know that, but nevertheless, he did what he's supposed to do, and in impressive fashion. And just at this point, just the fiasco with the supposed fight between Devin Haney and Gary Russell Jr., something that never came to fruition like we wanted it to, even though there was a contingent of people out there pushing for it, but it never
Hmm.
happened. And even from that point, we see now after the fact that Gary Russell Jr. was pretty much just being used as a pawn for his name in that regard. Uh, Haney had no intention of fighting him whatsoever. We know that it was just used as a
Yep.
pawn. But that's the sport of boxing. But even just when we look at lightweight again, we got Ryan Garcia getting ready to fight Luke Campbell, uh, and I'm still laughing at this because Ryan Garcia has not fought anybody. He's only fought what is it, one or two people in the top 10 or 15, something like that, and that's just recently. That's just recently.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And yet he's elevating himself out there as one of the top people in the division. And when like I said, he hasn't beaten anybody. And for me, like I said on Twitter today, it's like if I'm Teofimo, I want Ryan Garcia to win. And I'm saying I'm not fighting no one else in 2020, 21st until you give me Ryan Garcia, so I can what do you guys call that? Chicken dinner or something like that? Barbecue sandwich, whatever.
Barbecue chicken. Barbecue chicken alert.
Because if I'm Teal, I said I would stay at 135 just to collect me a couple more names. Because what I would like to see him fight, I would like to see a Teal fight Ryan Garcia early part of 2021. Boom, knock him out, and then from that point, hopefully arrange a fight between Tio and Tank. And I want that to happen, but like I said, there's so many things on reason why the top fights don't happen. We know that, but even just back with Haney, it's it's kind of the same story. Who has he fought? Who has he beat? Maybe some guys in the top 15, something like that. But
Mm.
he has good skills. We see that he looks good on YouTube, all his videos and everything. Good for him. But bottom line, you got to get into the ring and beat these top guys, or else you will become another Terrence Crawford. And you know what I mean? Just a lot of hype
Oh
behind you,
yeah.
a lot of stuff like that, but no real quality wins on your resume. And at some point in time, you have to fight the other guys. You have to. So, and it's kind of shameful because like even though Gary's as what 1, 2, 3 divisions below Haney, it's still been a great fight because Gary is a champion, Gary is established, and Gary has superior skills on top of that, which we talked about before. But for Haney, Gamboa, uh, if you could just recap what he said on why he's fighting Gamboa, because at this point, Gamboa's what 30, 39 years old, coming off Achilles injury. He's already been beat by Tank. He's already been beat by Terrence Crawford a couple years ago, things like that. So it's like, why are you fighting Gamboa? There's so much other opportunities out there, other people out for you to fight. So are you just trying to pick someone that's in a sense, a lame duck to quote unquote showcase you. And that's why, at the same time, where Haney himself said this week, I need to impress this week. I need to impress when I fight him. He knows
Right.
that because there's so much going on around the division with him. Even the fact that he's trying to cap on Tio saying, "Oh, he's not a unifying champion," which is bull crap. That's bull. That's bull. So I mean, it's just crazy, but we shall see. We should. It's a very interesting time at lightweight. Great time.
Yeah, and the thing is with Yuriorkis Gamboa, I mean, he's kind of floated back and forth between super featherweight and lightweight. He did have, the loss to Terrence Crawford back in 2014, the inexplicable stoppage loss to Robertson Castellanos in 2017. And did have a string of wins. He did beat Jason Sosa, but that was a fairly close fight against Jason Sosa, and he also got a point deducted in that particular fight. But fighting the likes of like Roman Martinez and Miguel Beltran Jr., that doesn't really constitute a good resume there at lightweight, especially in recent times. So going up against the likes of a Gervonta Tank Davis, that's not necessarily going to be all too hot, especially when uh, it was a near sweep there for Gervonta Tank Davis in that fight before uh, he was stopped. So now you're going up against Devin Haney, who's bigger, bigger, taller, kind of like comes in there at like 145, maybe 147 in this particular bout. Um, yeah, I really don't see much of a shot for Yuri Lopez Gamboa at this particular spot. And for Devin Haney on the flip side, I know you did mention the whole thing with Ryan Garcia as far as like, who has he been able to, or who has up to this point in his professional career, like this fight against Luke Campbell is going to be, his biggest fight that he's had, by far. I know that he, fought Romero Duno last year. I know that, he had his fight against Francisco Fonseca this year, but those guys aren't, the type of fighters that a Luke Campbell is. So it will be interesting to see what Ryan Garcia does in this particular fight against someone with the boxing skill like Luke Campbell has. But with Devin Haney, you're fighting guys like Antonio Moran, Juan Carlos Burgos, Alfredo Santiago. Like, people aren't necessarily impressed by those fights. So going up against Yuriorkis Gamboa is like one thing, but after that, you gotta, be able to step it up there. I mean, they did kind of like, suggest a fight against a Jorge Linares, but I don't know if Jorge Linares is going to be somebody that they're going to kind of like offer to Devin Haney next year. So he's got to fight, someone like a Javier Fortuna or, maybe who is it? Like maybe at Lee Selby. Lee Selby did have his decision loss this past weekend, but Lee Selby's still, there as far as like a competitor. Or maybe if they could kind of like find him, Robert Easter Jr. That would be something to kind of like see how Devin Haney deals with a guy with that height and reach in the lightweight division.
As you were talking, I was actually thinking about Robert Easter's name, and even on top of that, will be additional for that. He's a former champion. We know that. Limited in this title reign, we know that, but he's a former champion. Even didn't Lee Selby himself have a belt at one point in time?
He did, briefly. So
yeah, I mean, but anything. I mean, I'm not saying Gamboa is shot. Cause I mean, he's to me, because put like this, when Gamboa fought Tank last year, I forgot what round was that he got the injury in, but still, despite the injury, he still fought Tank back throughout the fight until he submitted in that 11th, 12th round, whatever it was, bro. So even so on this fight with Devin Haney, I hope that he can test him somehow. as far as because he's a veteran fighter. He still has some good quickness. Hoping that injury has not taken away his lateral movements, things like that. Because if not, he's going to be in trouble against David Haney in that regard. But I just hope that David Haney can just test him somehow. Because like I said, at this point, all these top guys, they're fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You're picking Gamboa, who's an older fighter, and like I said, coming off an injury. Not to keep harping that, but it is what it is. Your camp is the one that picked him. So
yeah. And the thing with Lee Selby, I forgot about this. Selby did, have a world title, but that was when he lost to, Josh Warrington a couple of years ago, and that was at featherweight. So he went from featherweight and moved up 2 divisions to lightweight, and had those 2 fights. One against Omar Douglas and then Ricky Burns before the fight against George Kambosos. And, like we were saying in the podcast, I really didn't feel like George Kambosos won that fight. And I feel like the way that Kambosos was built up leading into that fight, that he should have been able to really beat Lee Selby. I thought he was going to knock him out, but he didn't do that. And I don't know that Lee Selby was able to kind of like control the pace in that particular fight over the course of those 12 rounds to where I felt like he won that fight, but they, gave the nod to Kambosos. But going back to the thing here with Devin Haney, yeah, like I said, he's going to have to, really impress. And it kind of like reminds me of how people were looking at the fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. It felt like Tank Davis was like a legit lightweight, and that Santa Cruz was basically like a featherweight fighting at 130 pounds. Well, when it was actually that Tank Davis is basically a super featherweight. It's just that his height, his height makes him be at around that super featherweight division, but his weight makes him, go up and down from super featherweight to lightweight. And I'm like, if he goes to lightweight, he's going to deal with people that are much bigger than him. So I think that's going to be something that he will have to deal with in his future fights. Is that okay? If he's going to continue his career at lightweight, you got a lot of tall, big guys out there at lightweight, So you may want to see if he could continue his career there at super featherweight. You know what I mean?
So tell me, upon saying that, what big fight do you see happening? Give me 2 big fights at lightweight. Do you think that will actually develop and actually happen by summer next year?
By summer of next year, 2 big fights. Okay. I do think with Gervonta Tank Davis being a pay-per-view guy, that he will end up fighting Vasyl. And the reason why I say that is because people are talking about this whole thing about maybe Vasyl is having a rematch with Teofimo Lopez. I don't see it. I see Teofimo Lopez moving up in weight to 140 pounds. So he's going to give up those belts. And by giving up those belts, that means it'll be available once again. And you're going to have the whole thing with the WBC sort out. And after that, you're just going to have, Lomachenko be available, I say, by summer to win at least one of those belts. And then eventually have Gervonta Tank Davis there. But if not, then they'll try to see about making that fight, pay-per-view fight, by May of next year. The other fight at lightweight will be Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. I just don't see that fight being passed up by summer of 2021. There's been way too much back and forth between both of those fighters for it not to happen next year. So, with that being said, I feel like Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia is the next big fight to happen at the lightweight division in 2021.
Okay, well, let me just say this upon acknowledging that. So Teofimo, we know that he's a unified champion, right? And he's already said at some point in time he's definitely going to move up to 140. I don't know how many big fights are there up there for him to have those glory to build his legacy per se. I don't know who's up there other than Josh Taylor, Ramirez, something like that. I don't know. And he's already stated that he would definitely stay at 135 for the right fights. So at this point, being that you are unified champion, so the right fights for you is going to be only big fights from that point. And of course, where know the larger list of names, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Tank, and whoever else, and whoever a mandatory is, like the Cambosa guy that just beat Lee Selby. I kind of laughed at that because on his post-fight interview, this guy said, "I want Teofimo Lopez right now." I'm like, dude, do you really want that? I don't think you really want that smoke like you saying you do, you know. But he's a mandatory, whatever. So, but even with that, Teal's going to be labored with his mandatory defenses. That's going to come up, and some point in time overwhelm him, which might eventually drive his decision to move up to 140. But like I said, he said he would stay at 135 for the right fights. And you know, I saw a couple of his recent interviews this week. He quote from his standpoint, he said that they're hiding Tank from him. They said Tank doesn't want no part of him. That's what he says. Even though that would be a great fight, but like I said, for a potential Tank Lomachenko fight, yeah, that's definitely possible because if, like I said, if Teo does vacate all those belts, which I personally think would be a shame to go through all that process to get those belts and then just boom, be out just like that. You know, I want to see him fight a couple more times at 135, some of the top names. But like I said, T.O. Tank matchup, great matchup like that with that. And the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Two young stars. Me personally, I think the business of boxing gets in the way of that. And what I mean by that is that they're going to protect these guys to maximize their income, maximize their earning potential. So I think they'll probably keep those away from each other in that regard. Even though it sounds good for us hardcore boxing people, we'd love to see those fights. But will it ever happen?
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Definitely we'll see. A lot of factors that goes in that.
Yeah, true that, true that. I didn't know if Mike wanted to chime in on that thing there as far as like the lightweight situation, particularly the thing with Devin Haney and Yuriorkis Gamboa. I mean,
yeah, I'm here.
Devin Haney was selling it, earlier today.
So I don't have a lot of thoughts on. Man, I was cooking. I was halfway in between making my hamburgers, and I forgot my Dale seasoning sauce, so I had to go back to the grocery store. And I was gonna talk some crap. Man. I was gonna talk some crap and take a picture and send it to Terrell.
Oh
but
yeah.
Now I feel like everything just messed up now. I feel off now. I just don't know. I can't take the picture no more. Terrell gonna tell me to sit down somewhere. Hey, real stuff, Terrell. Real stuff, Terrell. We never got up when we were in Tampa, but when COVID and stuff in, dog, we need to have like a boxing weekend where we all like do a potluck or cook or some dog, and just watch boxing.
Definitely, man. Definitely.
And Jay gotta travel down too.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna definitely travel down and bring a bottle, of course.
Oh, there you go. Bring from 3 years ago.
Man, you know what? It's probably easier for me to just drive down to do that.
Yep. Hey, we all drink the bottle though. But I don't really have a lot of thoughts on Devin Haney. I honestly haven't watched many fights of his, and it's not because he ain't good. It's just I just got to go and just find him. It's something. I don't know. Let me be quiet. I need to watch more fights to give my true thoughts on him. I can't really give honest thoughts. But if it's like anybody else, people know that he's ready for the test. And if he's like the other youngins who fought Gamboa to where they needed a stepping stone to tell them that they are indeed in that upper B plus, echelon or higher, he should be just a stepping stone. So hopefully Gamboa fight above himself. Hopefully he make it interesting. But to Terrell's point, with Teofimo Lopez fighting at the weight and leaving, I tell you a reason for somebody to do that. The thought of getting their ass whooped by another man who just as good as you will make you do that. Make you not want to risk that last belt.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be the unified champion and then talk the way you talk, but then end up moving up, that says a lot about you right there in some aspects. So that's why I think the thing with Teofimo kind of like saying, okay, I win against Richard Comey and get the IBF belt. And then the next fight, I fight Bassam and get the win and get unified belt. So now it's time for me to move up. It's like, oh, okay. I find that real interesting, there, especially when the most lucrative fights that you could have are there in the 135-pound division. It's not like you could just wait it out and just have them move up or something like that. Could it happen? Yeah, but not everybody is going to be able to move up to 140. And by the time you do move up to 140, the guys that are there available at 140, especially the top guys, won't be there. They'll be at 147. So, I mean, what else is there for you to do?
Great point, because like I said, he's intent at this point. Granted, he's only 23 years old. We know that, but he's already intent on building his legacy. And I moved to 140 at the wrong time. You're pretty much going to start yourself because you're going to be fighting virtual nobodies in that regard. You probably have some decent fighters, but no one that's going to actually, like I said, build your legacy when it's all said and done. So it's like, because we already know your top competition at 135, and the best fight that can be made for next year would be Tank and Teofimo Lopez at Madison Square Gardens with Matt 646 in front seats talking shit. So on pay-per-view.
Yeah, so. But I don't know, man. Yeah, they could set up those fights to be pay-per-view and things like that, but right now it just seems like Teofimo Lopez, the way that he kind of like approached this fight that he had against Bassam, and that I think he's like looking to try to go in his own path, so to speak. So, and that includes moving up to 140 and just having fights at 140 until I guess everyone else catches up with him. So it remains to be seen how that's going to turn out for that. Other things that we did find out over the course of the week, like I said, you don't have Dylan White against Alexander Povetkin, as Povetkin did test positive for COVID-19. So that fight against Dylan White will be postponed to January. That's the plan for that. And then also Tyson Fury has come to terms to fighting Ajit Kabayel for December 5th. So we will have more details about that particular fight taking place on December 5th. That's through The Athletic. So that's the news in the heavyweight division there so far, other than, what happened last weekend with Alexander Usyk and the upcoming fight for the unified titles, Anthony Joshua against Kubrat Pulev. So I guess Tyson Fury just said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and fight Ajit Kabayel and make that defense and, get some money,
So who has I'm not familiar with the guy. Who has he fought before? Like, give me
some boxing facts on the guy.
Nobody that you've heard of.
It could be that I just don't follow him. So, maybe he. So, you telling me it's nobody, or you're like.
Well, I mean, he's. I would say that at least he actually did fight someone notable in a competitor that did fight last weekend, and that is Derek Chisora. He won a majority decision in that particular bout, which was in 2017, and it was a majority decision win. So I might have to check that fight out again. He's fought guys that are like, 9-0, 26-1, 19-1, but pretty much every one of these fights was like in Germany or, he's fought in what is it like? Jeez. Like in Monte Carlo too. So, I mean, he's like I said, he's a German-based fighter. And he's 20-0 with 13 KOs, but he's had I'd say two knockout victories in his last 6 fights. So it is what it is. He's 6'3", so he's pretty much like the size of actually he might be shorter than Otto Wallin, if I'm not mistaken. Either that or the same size. I think Wallin is 6'4", but Wallin is 6'5", so this guy's even shorter than Wallin.
So he's not tall?
Yeah, so this one is, I guess, like a stay busy fight for Tyson Fury, so to speak. That's what this is. That's all this is. Not sure how much he's getting out of it because that's a significant step down to, having a third fight with Deontay Wilder. And, if Mr. 646 was here, he would tell you that, that the fight between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is still going to happen, which I doubt.
Well, think about it from this standpoint. So Fury, WBC heavyweight champion, ring titles at heavyweight. We know that, right? What was it? 3-4 years ago, he's removed from clinical depression, drug use, all those things like that. He made the comeback trail to the point where he's at right now. We know that, reinvented himself in a sense. So think about that. Think about this. So, and even amidst this current pandemic and things like that, what do you love to do? Box. You love to fight. So what does the fighter need to do? He needs to fight. Now, granted, we're not getting the rematch or the third fight, the trilogy fight between him and Wilder right now. We get that. And for whatever various reasons, whether we can confirm those or not confirm those, right? But the thing about that, he needs to fight. So in a sense, he's not going to fight who we want to see, but he needs to fight. He needs to get into the ring because at this point, boxing is in some sense a therapy to him. So he's going to fight some tomato can. We know that, but like I say, he needs to fight. And the thing about that, it's good for your brand. It's good for your profile, things like that. So he needs to fight. Like I said, it's going to be a tomato can. I keep saying that, but it is what it is because from this point, we see that for whatever reason, the third fight between him and Wilder are not coming. And we all know that pretty much the reason why that's not happening is money. Because these guys, I got a graphic I'm going to put up here probably this week for what Wilder earned and what Fury earned for this year. And it's crazy. It's millions of dollars and things like that. So for the third fight to happen, they want to make that same kind of money. And the only way to make that is with a live gate, which you guys already know that. And without the live gate to support the event, those guarantees are not going to be in place for these guys. So, but in the meanwhile, Fury needs to fight. That's therapy for him. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that second fight, the live gate generated, over 16, $17 million, on top of the pay-per-view numbers that it got. So they want us, see if they can match that guarantee for both of those fighters for that third fight. And what it is, on one point in reference to why the third fight should happen is because this is not only a two-fight agreement between the fighters, it's also a two-fight agreement between the networks, or basically one company that has the two networks in Viacom or whatever it is. Actually, Disney, Disney. Given that Fox and ESPN are under the Disney umbrella, so they want to, get some of that money, from that second fight, see if they can make it back, make something back on that third fight more. Given the amount of promotion that they did or, put down for that fight that happened in February that took place, they want to, get good returns on the third fight. And they feel like they could get good returns on the third fight. So that's why, they at least, they want to have that third fight happen, even with Tyson Fury saying that he wants to have a fight against Isaac Cavial on December 5th. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the next few weeks as far as them following up in this particular instance for a match, like I said, between Tyson Fury and Isaac Cavial that's on December 5th. So what does that mean for a third fight between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder? So remains to be seen how that's going to work out. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's mainly what I wanted to cover here in this midweek report. We'll be getting back at it here on Sunday for the podcast. We will cover what happened over in the Haney versus Yuriorkis Gamboa fight card, among other action that does take place there on Saturday night. So there's a lot of action going on in the state of Florida, over in South Carolina. You do have Shatika Hemingway with her professional debut on November 7th in a card that's promoted by Christy Martin, former world champion Martin. So you do have that, and also
don't forget about King Kong. Don't forget about King Kong.
Luis Ortiz that will be fighting Alexander Flores over in Los Angeles. That will be on Fox too. So a lot of action to kind of look at over the course of the day on Saturday. So that's what we got, and I'll be sure to check all of that out. Once again, thanks to Bassam for joining us here tonight, and we'll be getting in contact with him later on for more things that he's going to be doing in the boxing scene within the Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg area. And thank Brother Terrell and Mike for joining this live conversation. And I will catch y'all on Sunday. Peace out.
All right, fellas.